Welcome back to the Rift here on day 2 of the summer split in the LEC. And I want to turn our attention to the players that we spent a lot of time talking about in the pregame. It is Selfmade and it's Trick, Sejuani into Trundle. What should expectations be during the early stages of this game and sort of pathing options? Because there is so much potential to get kills in every lane if anybody just steps a little bit out of place.
Yeah, so I think speaking about early game, gank paths for both these junglers, they both have really good options. You look across every single lane, there is CC to set it up. Trundle, of course, will bring more damage to early game fights, but Sejuani has more CC. So I think both these champs have very good options, but the key difference is going to be when they meet up. So in a 1v1 or any sort of 2v2, if there's a counter gank situation, I would give the advantage to Trick's Trundle because of the damage it can bring up against the Sejuani. And
of course the fact that he steals so many statistics as well, Chomp is going to be so valuable. Yep. Gets an additional attack speed from the frozen domain. It's definitely one of the more frustrating champions to deal with 1v1. And also that pillar can be game-changing. I saw some very, very crucial pillars of ice interrupting mobility or really preventing escape paths. So that can be very important as the game plays out. And Crownshot and Dreams will return to lane just a little later than Upset and IgNar. They're going to be in time to pick up most of the wave as well as all the experience.
Yeah, we actually saw IgNar do the same pull that we saw yesterday, where you actually draw the minion aggro and then walk it into the bush to get the lane in a little bit more favorable position where you can have your support play aggressively in that second brush. Of course, now IgNar gets pushed out a little bit, but Schalke will have the first level 2 coming in, which means that once that gets taken down, they need those melee minions. They will have the advantage and can push Crownshot away.
You see the respect. Crownshot and Dreams instantly back away the moment they realize that IgNar's going to get access to his second spell. Pirean with the early ward there behind the chicken camp. Gonna step forward and just get some information. This will tell you a lot about where Trick is and what he's doing. On the minimap, he's heading to blue.
Yeah, you saw SK actually putting 2 wards inside of Trick's jungle. First, I believe it was Sacre that warded over that Baron wall to see if there was going to be a level 2 gank up top lane, because that is one thing that a Trundle can do. If you take the pillar as your second ability, you can go for a very early game gank to try and shut down that Renekton, but they didn't see him there, so Pirean said maybe he's on the Raptors. Once he puts down that ward and they see he's not, it's pretty safe to assume at this point that he has path down bot.
All right, what about Trick? Gone press the attack, got himself the machete to start off. Very, very healthy clear on the first. Of course, didn't go into the chickens just yet. We'll clear out the wolf camp, and then we start seeing where does Selfmade and Trick go, and who's going to get the early advantage.
Yeah, I think Selfmade just wants to hover around the top side of the map for the time being. Take this Scuttle Crab. If you can then walk in and contest the Raptors, that may be a good option, but this ward will end up seeing Trick if he does walk in for that camp. Instead, he's actually looping all the way around, and this was the idea that I was talking about using the Trundle pillar to find an early game gank up top lane. Trick maybe expects either a dive from Selfmade or the opportunity for a gank.
All right, let's take a look. Pirean, can he get this stun? Is going to find one, gets the second. That's a double stun. Defensive flash from Abbedagge, but he escapes with his life.
All right, just barely getting the phase rush in there as well to scoot on out of there. Abbedagge, he's been bullied so much. Think back to the spring split of last year. Junglers always coming into this man's lane and shutting him down, so it's nice to see him get away for once.
Oh man, being picked on and really a challenging start to the game. But flashless, he's going to be able to teleport back to lane. As it stands, he's going to try to get this wave potentially to bounce. It looks like it's pushing towards Pirean, but you can see Trick waiting in the wings. And if Selfmade can find a return gank, this is good. Selfmade, we've heard the word several times. Invisible yesterday in the early game. Definitely not invisible in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, and especially because you get that gank before level 6s come in. So now there's no flash on Abbedagge. Give it 2 minutes, Selfmade's going to be level 6, and then he comes mid lane. Well, this Ryze doesn't have a flash. He opted into teleport instead of cleanse, so that means that should be a very easy kill unless Trick shows up. If Trick can counter gank, that is where Schalke can maybe turn it around.
All right, let's take a look at the trade here. Pirean gets caught and eats a lot of damage from those overloads. But you mentioned when Trick shows up, what is the 2v2s here? It feels like more damage on the side of Schalke, so in theory, if they get you locked down with that Rune Prison and Pillar, they should be able to win it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think SK have a lot of burst damage when they go in for these types of trades, especially around the mid lane where, Sylas lays down all his cooldowns, which are relatively high, especially early on in the game. Sejuani has her stun, which comes in immediately, but then in an extended trade, the Trundle's going to be able to do a lot. The Ryze, of course, as well, should be able to fire back effectively.
Yeah, definitely going to be the case. And Trick is still, he's just, lingering around the mid lane. Obviously not a lot of camps to clear if you look at the minimap, so he's going to spend his time warding his flashless mid laner. While that's going on, the top laner has been shoved in. Sacre was able to get a small advantage, while Odoamne is still sitting in lane. And the first back will be a phage for Sacre. He's not going to use the TP to come back up. He had the advantage of backing first. And Odo, we'll see what he can do if he decides to shove, back shop, then come back.
Yeah, in my experience with Sacre is this man just always has an advantage, because when I was watching him play at EU Masters, he averaged a plus 25.2 CS differential at just 15 minutes. That is gigantic. I know you're the stats master.
That is massive.
Yeah, it really was insane. And back in the day, he got a lot of ranged top laners. That was always sort of his bread and butter, but it was always about having a very lane-dominant style. You come into the LEC, of course, the level of competition does rise, but I still expect this guy to play that same style.
Well, Selfmade, I think, it just snuck in. Odo will spot that one, and obviously Selfmade is... We're not going to go in for the fight just yet. Odo realizes something's fishy. He is stepped back instantly.
Yeah, when you see the Sejuani mark on the cannon creep.
Yes. So Odo knows something's up, but he's not going overextended. And what I was going to say is expectation. Can Sacre go up plus 20 CS against Odo's Irelia?
Yeah, Selfmade is really sitting this one out right here. Of course, he has the ultimate, but Odo does have the flash. If he can react, he can dodge it.
All right, there's the flash. Odo was trying to bait that one out and actually ends up coming away worse for wear.
I actually really don't like this gank from Selfmade. In theory, it can be nice, but ultimately, I was expecting to see him come to that mid lane. There's no flash on Abbedagge. Abbedagge is pushing up. Selfmade should just look to control vision around one side of this mid lane and then force that play. It's a very easy gank to lay down. I think it's a missed opportunity now that his ult is on cooldown.
On the same token, Selfmade at least making those plays. This is an improvement from yesterday.
I can see him, that's for certain.
Albeit not the strongest. He's got 2 flashes from 2 ganks. That means Abbedagge is still on cooldown. 25% of the cooldown remaining. He's not going to be under pressure just yet. And we haven't actually looked at these bottom lanes at all in quite a bit of time. 15 CS advantage for now. Upset and IgNar. Remember, they had the early level 2 and they've been able to keep the pressure up, but there is a very large number of minions pushing towards Crownshot, so it will close that gap somewhat.
It'll close the gap, but Upset will certainly be ahead in this lane. We saw it just from the start of the laning phase as well, where they pulled that wave into the bush, got the earlier level 2, and were constantly pushing up. And because there hasn't been any jungler involvement around this bottom lane, it has just been Upset and IgNar applying the pressure, and they're very close to getting the first plate in that bottom lane as well.
This kind of benefits Schalke. I mean, Upset on Vayne, you have to feel more confident in, versus Crownshot on Ezreal. You mentioned one thing about the jungler involvement. I've actually got the jungle proximity stats from yesterday, where Selfmade actually spent 49.9% of his time in the early game around his laners, despite having no impact. Trick, on the other hand, roughly 4 percentage points less. You look at his game this time around, and it's very similar. He's just been power farming, he's pretty much ignored everything, but his laners haven't needed the help and haven't been under pressure, so you can't fault him for that.
Yeah, and what we have seen him doing is actually shading his laners at times where they could be ganked, whether it was pathing top lane and sacrificing maybe his Raptor camp in order to protect from a potential dive when that wave was collapsing. So I think it's pretty obvious here that Trick is a smart player and that he is trying to figure out where Selfmade is on the map. Even without the vision, he's trying to put together that mental picture and placing himself on the map where he thinks is best.
Yeah, right now, Trick and Selfmade reading the same situation. They're both in place. Selfmade's got the ulti available. Abbedagge's going to flash away from it. Trick is in trouble. He's taken so much damage from Pirean, but they've turned around. Subjugate flash forward for Chomp is not enough. First blood picked up by Selfmade. True Shot Barrage comes in for extra measure, and Selfmade greater than Trick.
Really nicely played there from Selfmade. I need some more time to maybe figure that one out for certain, but he saw him on the ward in that brush, so Selfmade had the counter gank. It meant that Schalke used all their cooldowns to try and find Pirean, who was able to use his flash to get away. Now he's in trouble though.
Flash Flay, death sentence will not matter despite it missing. IgNar's Ignite picks up the kill. And that's a 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
All right, so IgNar going to come in clutch to make things right here for Schalke. The gold going to be all evened up. We'll check this out from the perspective of Selfmade. Again, he saw Trick on that ward. He waits until they fully commit in here. Flash ultimate doesn't connect, but now he has fight.
We have to jump out. Odoamne forced to run for his life. Double blink as Trick is now looking for Selfmade once again. Revenge secured. Trick's going to be able to chomp one more time before he goes down himself. Now Sacre's trying to escape with the second dice. It will not do it.
Yeah, teleport advantage there there on Abbedagge, so he's able to make his way up into the top lane and punish that of SK. This game went from very slow to very, very quick. As soon as some summoner spells got burnt there, both junglers just felt completely activated to go for some plays.
And there we go, 3 kills to 2. In the matter of 60 seconds, 5 kills secured in the mid and top lane. And of course it was IgNar's roam that got Schalke on the board, and then Trick comboed with his solo laners for 2 additional. It's a 500 gold lead to Schalke, and still a very close, very even game.
Yeah, it is, and right now they are going to have some advantages. Top lane teleport from Sacre just went back into the top lane, so Odo will have that advantage. Now we see how this one starts out. Again, it's SK going all in, but this is what I said. Unless you can instantly burst down and win the fight, you will get out damaged in these longer team fights. Odo survives, so now Trick is able to trade back and get a lot of damage down on Sejuani.
There was such good usage of the marks, multiple blade surges from Odo to avoid and stay just out of melee range.
Yeah, and it also gives the extra healing as mid.
Every time we come out of a replay, there's a fight. Abbedagge still stays alive. He's running away. The Realm Warp won't be enough, and then gets the rest of his team out. Abbedagge gets a lantern. How are you still alive? How did Schalke get away with that? The death sentence connects with dreams, and Silver Bolts will get procced, but they don't chase further. Oh, that was beautiful.
That was so insane. Abbedagge puts down the Realm Warp, but he knows if he gets CC'd, it's canceled. So he says, I'm going to sacrifice myself. IgNar's like, no, wait. Look at this. I've got a lantern. Come on out with me. And Schalke get away with murder.
Man, the setup on the Realm Warp for the rest of Schalke to escape, and I was just about to be very critical of Abbedagge stepping forward, and IgNar saves the day, so nobody died in that exchange, but it was very fun to watch.
Yeah, Abbedagge has been flirting with death this entire game, but somehow, some way, he's able to get out every single time.
I mean, his flashes were really on point in multiple exchanges earlier, getting out of range of the 2v1, getting staying alive in the 2v2. He's 1-0-1 on Ryze, still working towards his first big upgrade, whereas Pirean has already got that proto belt completed. Actually, you know, first big items coming in for a few members of SK. Black Cleaver secured for Sacre, Man Immune and the Sheen for Crownshot. So we're still scaling up, we're still ramping up as we're close to 15 minutes.
Yeah, we are, and we're actually seeing an interesting map state at the moment, too, where both AD carries are left solo down towards the bottom lane, and as the pace of the game seems to be picking up a little bit, it is worth noting that Crownshot elected for the teleport on the Ezreal, which is up, whereas Upset went for the cleanse. So that's going to be much more effective when a Sejuani is jumping on you, perhaps, but in the event that, say, a Rift Herald is started up, Upset has to move all the way up there, otherwise Crownshot has the opportunity to TP and get a 5v4.
I also think that that cleanse, with the amount of hard CC in the composition for SK, very smart call. I wonder if it also allows Upset a little bit more strength in the side lanes if he ever finds himself in a 1v1. Time will tell, because the Rift Herald has now been picked up by Trick. He's got no flash available, but the Lantern from IgNar is flawless. And Schalke didn't panic, they didn't want the fight, they got the objective.
And it's smart shot calling from them too, right? Upset has the advantage in the 1v1 between both AD carries, so he pushes down bottom lane and then makes the long trek through the river up towards that top side of the map. So if a fight were to break out, they could match it. Instead, they say we can still just use this lantern to get Trick out to safety, and they get the objective for free.
Oh, nicely done. Upset, he tumbles forward, maybe he realizes a vision in the river there, so doesn't want to continue the chase, despite maybe being able to do so after throwing the Cutlass active down, and Trick will just escape thanks to the frozen domain. Challenge of a Mountain Drake vision. Yeah,
I think Schalke right now would really love to get a fight going. Odo's going for a base to get his mana back, and then he can maybe look for a TP down in towards that bottom lane. Right now it's SK with control, but that could turn on a dime the second Odo uses that spell.
All right, item disparity here. Odo's obviously got the boots, the Tiamat versus the completed Black Cleaver. Sacre looking to either cut the wave or just prevent his exit. And the Dragon's going to get started by SK Gaming. Schalke already, though. They're aware of it.
Yeah, SK are bringing down Sacre, so he's going to be running into the area, but he will not get here quick.
All right, Subjugate is stolen by Pirean. Very good Arcane Shift over the wall. Gets Crownshot to safety. Dreams is sitting inside the pit, waiting for Stand behind me. True Shot Barrage does several hundred damage to multiple members of Schalke. Teleports up for Odo. He hasn't used it yet.
Yeah, here we go. They're going for the engage.
That's the engage. It's already done. That's the first kill onto Trick. The Mountain Drake will reset and the teleport completes. Instant reply onto Pirean. Mid for jungle's a good trade for Schalke, but the re-engage from Sacre. The slice and dice, he can't cut anybody up. Nice. Sacre gets shut down by the Silver Bolt, and here's the Realm Warp. They're not done.
And so far they're going back in. It's another kill. Crownshot Crownshot now being jumped on by Upset. He doesn't stand a chance.
That's it! Double kill for Upsets!
Beautiful stuff there from Schalke, using their teleports to come in for that fight around the dragon. IgNar still trying to find out where Selfmade is in the jungle, but it's a clean wipe for Schalke.
All right, the Mountain Drake didn't go down in the entire exchange, but Schalke just showing up in the team fight, losing Trick, and I think getting 3 or 4 at the end of it.
Yeah, and we heard Upset last night on PGL talking about how much Trick brought to the team, not just in terms of an individual player, but shot calling and comms for this team, and you can see it very evident right there, the multi-step process, how they set up for that Drake, and eventually called Odo in for that TP, made it so they could play that fight very intelligently.
All right, we're actually going to get a replay of this, and it's going to be started as Odo's in the base.
Yeah, you can see Trick gets burst basically right off the bat. And Pirean, he's still the subjugate, so he's trying to be tanky, but it's not enough. He was just able to use that on towards IgNar. Now with all 4 members still alive, Sacre goes in, but he doesn't find the stun on towards Abbedagge. This is where they realize the front line is down. Abbedagge can then use the Realm Warp to transport all 4 members into the fight and pick up the final kills.
Really, really good usage of that Realm Warp. Abbedagge was under so much pressure early in the game. He's 1-0-5 on his Ryze right now, and despite Trick being 1-3-2, he has been shadowing when the pressure has been on, and despite Selfmade's attempts to get his laners ahead, it hasn't equated into a lead in Schalke. They're up 2,000 gold right now.
In a very, very comfortable position, especially because you consider having all these range threats of a Ryze and a Vayne approaching, you know, mid-game to late-game team fights. That is going to look very good for this Schalke squad. They even get the extra charge on the Herald as well as icing on the cake.
Double boop. Schalke were able to get the first tower in the bottom lane and 30-40% of that tower on the inner lane. And as it stands, another potential fight. This time, TP is up for Sacre on the top, and another very well placed lantern from IgNar manages to get Abbedagge to safety.
So this time it's Pirean splitting top lane with the teleport. Odoamne doesn't have the TP himself, so now he's on the walk down, but he will be late. Schalke still might want to go for the steal.
All right, 4 versus 4. Death Sentence will connect, and it's not going to be followed up by IgNar. The Mountain Drake is secured. It's actually SK that pick it up. Crownshot was the one that secured. Now Schalke on the disengage. They've got a blast gun if they need it. The Vanguard's Edge absolutely whiffs and finds nobody. Sacre is being hammered on. Upset stays alive for so long. All of a sudden, SK in what was a 5v4. They're losing the fight. Sacre hops over the wall. The flay was great. The Realm Warp will deliver Schalke.
They want more. They're going 4 members in on the Realm Warp one more time. Selfmade gets out though.
Yeah, but look at the minimap. Recall. Teleport's actually being used here by Crownshot. Pirean's going to be the next one that's in trouble. Now the teleport being used from Sacre. Double TP after losing the team fight, and Pirean is taking Schalke on a wild goose chase.
Yeah, but Pirean will fall down eventually. He will not be able to get the execute either. Trick has spotted him, and they're going to donate the kill to Upset.
Absolutely the case. Upset 3-0-2 already. He's going to take some damage. Will there be a counter kill? IgNar! Woo! Woo! That was a little close.
Oh my word, Schalke, that fight was so clean. At the start, I had no faith. I was thinking, what are you doing? Just send Trick in there, go for a steal, if anything. But the way IgNar waited on the other side of blue buff to pull Trick out of that situation was just beautiful. Watch his approach into the pit, because again, it's 4 versus 5, but IgNar uses the sweeper. He knows he's not on vision. He throws out the hook, but then backs away from the rest of his team, knowing that if Schalke can kite back and force SK into this position, IgNar then has the flank. He uses the lantern to bring a second member over. Irelia is also on the move down, so the only exit for SK is through the dragon pit. That means they have to use flashes, they have to use dashes, but Schalke still have the response of the Realm Warp to eventually close the gap and cut off the rest of SK.
So nicely done. I'm really enjoying Schalke's usage of the Realm Warp to finish in close fights. Has been used creatively, both on the front foot and the back foot. And despite all the damage that Pirean got out, he wasn't able to find the kill onto IgNar, despite it getting so close.
Yeah, you see Trick there walking over towards the Gromp camp. He's like, you guys got this, right? And ended up being a little bit close for comfort.
All right, so it's a 3,000 gold lead to Schalke. Upset, sort of the star of that fight, closing it out after the re-engage. Not really getting jumped on. He's 4-0-2. He has yet to ever die on Vayne in his career. Ask me how many times he's played Vayne in his career.
How many times he's...
Twice, yesterday and today. He went 6-0-8, and right now he's 4-0-2.
I didn't even finish the question.
I know it didn't. I just wanted to set it up myself. But it's a really good performance, a really confident start to the summer split. And despite it being slow yesterday, I do not have the same feelings today. A lot more in your face, a lot more proactive, and a much stronger lead earlier in the game.
Yeah, I think the whole bot lane here for Schalke has done so well so far in this match. You know, yeah, Upset's got all the kills, but I think IgNar had some clutch roams to the mid lane early on. They were winning that 2 versus 2, and in the last team fight, I already mentioned how impressed I was by the crafting of that 5 versus 5 to get that position and find that perfect flank. It's just been a really nice game to watch here from Schalke, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Rageblade picked up now for Upset. Seraphs has been with Abbedagge for a little moment. Triforce for Odoamne. And of course, Trinity Force equaled by Crownshot. No real big purchases yet for Pirean. He's been sitting on that proto belt for a while and hasn't yet been able to find his next big item until this very second. Luden's Echo. That's a small additional power spike. Now, because SK are behind in gold, they still have some very good team fight. They still have the ability to win, but how do they claw themselves back into this game?
Well, SK have tools to play, I think, skirmishes very well, you know, especially if you can get an isolated, 2v2, 3v3 with champions like Renekton or Sylas, you're going to perform very well. Both those champions have high single target damage as well as sustain in their kits to make those types of fights very good. But in the 5v5, what they lack compared to Schalke is range. The range of a Vayne and a Ryze to pump out DPS from relative safety. So that is where they might struggle, and if they can try to divide up the map a little bit and maybe take a 5v5, split it down the middle, that might be better for them.
I get that. If they pick the right fights, their composition can steamroll. But if you get caught in open terrain, it can go south real fast. I just saw the little interaction there between Trick and IgNar. Excuse me. Pillar of Ice went up. I do have a cough button, but I just forgot to hit it. Pillar of Ice went up, and IgNar was looking for a death sentence, but a target didn't present himself. So I want to see whether or not any of these sieges under tower will be ended by a great combination there. Look, Trick and IgNar again sitting on the front line.
Yeah, that really is the combination. You can use the terrain. Now watch Selfmade over on the side. Maybe he wants to find the fight, but they would have to catch Upset, and they're not going to find it.
Oh, there's so much damage onto Abbedagge. Selfmade wasn't able to get over the wall. Vanguard's edge was stolen by Pirean, and it's on cooldown. 1/3 already through.
Yeah, Abbedagge has to go back to base to TP back in because Infernal Drake it just spawned. SK can start that up first, but they know they will not have the clean 5 versus 4 because of the TP coming in from the Ryze.
Man, it's so tentative. Abbedagge was poked up by just a few spells. Teleport is coming down into the bottom lane. Odo steps into the pit, but he's too late.
Schalke maybe trying to find a fight right here, but I don't think they're going to get what they want.
Oh, SK Gaming, they've stepped all the way forward, but that Vanguard's just fantastic from Odoamne.
Oh, we got him!
So many! All of a sudden, Crownshot is already dead. They've already traded 1 for 1 though, as now Selfmade goes further. The realm will be used again, this time to deliver IgNar as well as Abbedagge chasing onto Pirean.
This is just so sick from Schalke. Flash forward into the root from Abbedagge. He's looking for more.
All right, Infernal Drake goes to SK, but at the cost of 2 additional kills, and now Schalke, they peel for Baron.
Yeah, there's no jungler up now for SK Gaming. It's just Pirean and Sacre, but Sacre is still stuck in the base. Schalke gonna tear through this with the true damage from Vayne.
All right, teleport is up for Crownshot. True Shot Barrage will be by the time he spawns. I don't know if Baron will be alive though. Sacre's making his way up. Pirean has got himself a box, and Upset is zoning him out. This should go the way of Schalke. Pirean stepping forward. He's gonna almost take out Upset. True Shot Barrage comes in very, very close. Won't secure the kill, won't secure more. And despite Sacre getting a kill onto Upset, it looks like Schalke have got the objective. They're running for their lives.
But SK got everything they wanted because Upset died on his Vayne.
All right, but here comes Odoamne. First death ever on Vayne for Upset. Crownshot will avoid the flawless duet, but he won't do any more. And after SK got a little bit split on what to do, they don't get any exit kills, and Schalke keep the Baron on a few of their team.
Yeah, SK now need to go into damage control and get back some gold on the map. Schalke are forced to recall. Those recalls were a bit delayed by the push there from SK, so they do get this outer turret that will even up the gold just a little bit, but this game is getting into a difficult position now that Schalke can split up the map with this Baron and Siege.
Yeah, especially when they've got a Ryze and Irelia and a Vayne. There's so many options on how they can play their lane assignments or put their lane assignments. Just before that tower fell in the mid lane, IgNar did a very cheeky play that I love seeing Threshers do, where they fake support by throwing the lantern backwards. Nobody was there, nobody was around, nobody was coming in, but you just threaten it. You add that psychological pressure to your opponents, and despite Schalke losing mid, with the help of Baron-empowered minions, they get an instant reply back, 3 towers to 3, 4,000 gold lead for Schalke.
We'll watch this from the perspective now of Upset. They get into this corridor right here, and I think that Upset just has to free farm. I thought actually Odo was the real hero of this team fight, diving into the back lane where Upset comes in at the end to pick up some extra kills. But notice here, he doesn't go in through the Realm Warp. He gets the kill and then says, I can actually go back and help out Trick and chase down this Renekton.
And of course, he just wasn't under pressure at all. You know, watching from the perspective of Upset, once the initial sort of, a fight began, nobody from SK had a chance to even jump onto him, as you mentioned, because Odo did such a good job jumping in. He got the Vanguard edge of, I think, 3 or 4 people, and that allowed Schalke. They're up 13 kills to 5, and now they can play the side lanes. Look, Odoamne is down in the bottom lane, Abbedagge is up top, and as it stands, Upset and IgNar in the mid.
Yeah, this is actually a situation where Schalke have all the power, but SK, oh, he doesn't go all the way.
Oh, very cheeky. That wall got in the way between Pirean and Abbedagge. We are going to see another replay. This time on Pirean's attempt to stop the Baron.
Yeah, here we go. Pirean's stuck in here, but really it's the 2-shot barrage once Ezreal does respawn. Oh yeah, show me it all the way. That's just a clean snipe right there. Let me see some T-Tours in chat, because that's the first death Upset ever had on Vayne. It gets KS from Sacre. He used his flash for that.
Thank you so much, production team, for having fun with that one. First and only ever recorded death for Upset. Here comes Selfmade. That's a fantastic prison. Oh, a fantastic true shot barrage. Oh, Schalke are routed and wrecked. Upset's running for his life. This will be his second ever death in his second ever Vayne game.
SK's comp, you have to pick the right fights, and that was the perfect fight. Abbedagge was still stuck in the mid lane. They had the teleport from Pirean behind and set it up beautifully.
Go jump onto Twitter and go #Wombo Combo for that one. Everybody was bunched up. Everybody was crushed.
All right, one more look here. It's Selfmade on the flank, using that ultimate to catch out Odo, who was such a star in the last team fight win for Schalke. There's just nowhere these guys can go.
Oh man, the double stack on the Freljord ultimate. Braum from south-north, and Sej coming north-south. I mean, Abbedagge couldn't even get involved. Look, it's a good team fight for SK, but they are still behind. They are still in trouble, and they still need to claim back some territory. But look at the vision. They've got a deep ward in the red buff of Schalke, and they're pushing some Dragon Vision for the next Drake.
That's going to be the Mount Drake coming up. SK already have one of those, but the second Baron feels like it will be the turning point for this game, because if it does go into the hands of Schalke, that should be the tool for them to break open the base and close this one out. But if SK can get it themselves, all of a sudden, remember, they have very strong solo lane tools to try and push with that.
All right, Mountain Drake has just spawned. SK have started it. I was going to ask if it was the right call, because every time SK have gone to Dragon, it hasn't really gone very well. This time it's been donated, and there will still be one more Elemental Infernal before we get to Elder, so very, very juicy dragons to fight over at this stage of the game. Question I have for you, is it enough for SK? You know, Baron is going to be so crucial, especially with the very low range composition on Schalke. They can really help or use that Baron to push. And as it stands, actually, they're defending. Sacre is going all the way to the bot lane. His teleport will be up in a moment or two.
Yeah, right now, Schalke have the control in the mid lane, but it was SK playing on the offensive, pushing up, and you can see, I think, one of the best tools SK are using right now is Selfmade over to the sides. You know, when he throws that ultimate out from the Fogborn, doesn't give time for a Schalke player to react to it. That's where you can find that snap engage, that immediate burst in a teamfight win.
And waiting for it to happen. Upset's drop very, very low. Look at the heal. Dreams goes all the way forward. Won't be able to do it, but the tower is secured. 4 towers to 4. This gold difference is insignificant at this stage of the game. And Sacre is going to back away. He's just picked up his Guardian Angel as well. So, you know, Infernal Drake is 3.5 minutes away. Baron is 40 seconds away. Vision is pretty weak, really, for both teams around that objective, which is why Schalke are now pushing in. And I think it's so clear that Schalke want to prioritize this Baron and try use that to unlock the victory.
Absolutely. I think Schalke looking for a team fight around this objective using the Trundle plus Thresh combo. I love that you brought it up because it is a strong siege tool, but also in these situations where SK have to go through very tight corridors to get into the river from this blue side jungle, that means you throw down that pillar. It's very hard for them to walk through, and if they do, it means skill shots are going to be very, very easy. So it has to be something they look out for.
Yeah, definitely the case. IgNar's almost caught out. He's forced to flash, actually. Could that be influential in the team fight? True Shot Barrage was thrown, didn't get used, and if the Baron fight happens, no Braum ulti.
Yeah, SK have to fully commit to this. They need to get the teleport out of Abbedagge. He's currently pushing down bottom lane, getting that tower. SK know they must stay on this.
All right, Pirean's got himself a hijack box, which he has just used. Level 15, one away from max on the ulti. There's a peel back from the Baron. It's down to 3,000 HP. Abbedagge joins the fight.
And Drake wants to go in. That's going to be the subjugate, stealing the stats of Sacre there. The Baron is regenning. They throw down the pillar to try and slow him down.
This is a win for SK Gaming. Yes, they lost the bottom tower, but they got the teleport outside one of the split pushes.
Right now, though, Schalke have control. They have first dibs on walking mid lane, so SK still feel pressure to stay on this Baron buff, and Schalke can make a move.
All right, Braum's ultimate's back up available. Selfmade, where's the prison? He's thrown it!
Oh,
He's hit
upset.
Abbedagge! Upset's down! He's caught out! Vanguard's edge has been thrown out in two directions. One from Pirean, one from Odo, but this is a fight that's going very long. That's a flash forward. GA's been popped from Sacre. He's going to get up off the ground, but Crownshot remains untouched.
Crownshot can keep chasing down. He's waiting on the cooldowns, trying to find that final snipe. Instead, it will just be the push up mid lane. SK could maybe move back.
SK Gaming are not out of this game. They are finding their team fights, and now they're starting off the Baron.
Yeah, teleport comes in there from Sacre. Again, they have no jungler, but Trick is missing his flash. If he wants to enter this pit, it's very easy to turn, but a teleport behind could change things.
Oh my word, Odoamne is going to be coming in as well. This is a 2v3. Crownshot has gone forward with the arcane
no
shift. Winter's Bite doesn't do anything, but that's damage, and a dash forward from Odo. Baron was enlisted by SK Gaming. They get a double, and now the Baron.
Crownshot just jumping in melee. He doesn't even care. He has the damage to win out in these fights. They're just going to body block to deny a hook steal. SK on top.
This is a battle for German organization supremacy. It's something I talked about in the spring split. I love seeing SK and Schalke go toe-to-toe, and I was ready to say Schalke would win the game. I felt like they'd have been in control for such a long time. But all credit to SK finding the team fights around crucial objectives to bring them back into the leads.
Right, it's Selfmade finding these engages with those clutch ultimates, but it's Crownshot dealing all the damage. Look at the itemization now. He's gone all in towards that hybrid AP style build, finishing off the Luden's Echo, so he has 40% CDR. On top of that, the Gunblade 2 for sustain. You can see the damage alone speaks for itself.
It really does, and I'm not saying it was very super damage, just below 9,000, but in comparison to Upset's 270, who unfortunately got picked off, right? So this isn't exactly a fair comparison.
I mean, 270 is not a whole lot, Trev.
It is not, but him going down was the reason that SK could win that entire fight. What do you make of this hybrid build? Well, answer that in a moment or two. You look at the minimap. Pirean's down the bottom lane. Baron empowered minions from SK. This is going to be a realm war from Schalke. They're going for the base.
Yeah, they just want the towers. They don't even have the Baron, but they don't care. SK were moving over towards that Infernal Drake. The tower goes down, but they might be stuck in the base and forced into a 5v5.
Fight! Pirean teleports in from behind the Raptor camp. There goes the engage. Waiting for the prison. Not going to do enough just yet. That's a lot of damage on Upset. He's running for his life right now. It's a fight on two fronts. The first victim is going to be Selfmade. It is traded for Odoamne. The inhibitor still stands. SK has stood tall, but there's a hijack. Stolen Realm Warp, and SK Gaming, due to Schalke, what's been done to them? They are winning fight after fight thanks to Realm Warp.
Crownshot goes legendary. They're looking for the ace. Abbedagge, the only member to survive. And remember, SK Gaming, they have the Baron buff. They're teleporting top lane. They want to push.
That is the coolest hijack Realm Warp I have ever seen. And with 35-second death timers, how much of the base can SK take?
Oh, they're looking for at least one inhibitor, but a push up mid lane should mean two for this squad. Double Mountain Drakes as well, and only a Ryze to defend. They might just make the call to go for the win.
They're gonna try. Keep an eye on those death timers. 10 seconds for Odo, 15 for Trick, 15 for Upset. Abbedagge is left inside his own Nexus alone. Baron empowered minions for another minute. Abbedagge throws out the Overload the wrong direction. Not going to be enough. He gets jumped on by Crownshot. The Nexus is being focused. The Nexus is being chunked down. SK Gaming are looking for the win. SK Gaming take down Schalke.